Hello, 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 friends. Nicholas here. DIVO, TED Talks, Devoted Talks, where we take ancient wisdom and practices through a modern lens and experience to help end suffering in yours and those you love's worlds. So I left it on a cliffhanger with the last one. And so if you didn't listen to that one, please go back and listen to that. February 20th, I believe. Anyway, once again on a roll, sometimes I just have to keep recording. And so I was here and here we are. And I left it at, I was thinking about the different forces that really hold things together. They hold people, they hold objects, they hold certain experiences together. And what I came up with was, the force of gravity is something very similar to the thing that draws us together heart to heart. And, I figured that was love. And then I was like, what would be the other thing that holds us together, right? So there's a mind, body, and spirit. And I think the force that holds the physical world together and the body together is gravity. And gravity is this force that brings like to like together. And the more density the more mass there is, the more density there is, and the more gravity that is created by that. And so we talk about people having gravitas and, people are drawn to them. And so there's lots of layers to what that is. And I was like, I had always thought that gravity and love were these synonymous forces. And so I was like, if gravity is what holds the physical world together and the principles of the physical world together, that love is for the spiritual world, for the heart, for that essence of, what brings us to life is love. And then I was like, what would the other one be? And for the mental world, I came up with attention, right? Our focus is what's draw things together. And the more we spend time thinking about something, the more like is drawn to it. And so to me, gravity is to the body as attention is to the mind, right? The law of attraction, just saying, as is love is to the spirit. And so mind, body, and spirit, gravity, attention, and love. And then how do we take that? Well, I drew a triangle for my client, and I'm going to draw one really quickly while I'm here, so I can show it to you visually. But essentially, it's a triangle, and Dr. Lott used to call it the triangle of life. And there was 3 points, as a triangle does. And the top point was spirit or Atma. One of the bottom sides was body. And then the other side was mind. So you had mind, body, and spirit. Spirit being at the top. And then as he was talking, he inferred, and then I took it, and I really saw what he was saying. And so there's different practices that are out there, especially in the Indic world, that help you combine these sometimes disparate 3 pieces. I think they make a Venn diagram of you, but they don't always feel like that as they're happening. And so if spirit's at the top and mind is on one side and body's the other, the line that connects mind and body is Ayurveda, right? The root of all disease is attachment, and thinking is what causes disease and distortion in your body. The line between spirit and mind is yoga. We're using the mind and focusing through the mind to attain spiritual mastery in different ways. And then Tantra is a way to take the body through ritualistic practice and other practices to combine with the spirit. And then I was like, wow, this really ties in with this new idea that I had, where if we then put gravity below body, right? I mean, think about things that make you feel heavy and then things that make you feel light. Attention for mind. And then for spirit, put love. And these are the forces that hold it all together in the triangle of life. Those of you who are on YouTube, you'll be able to see what I was pointing out. Now, what do you do with these things? Well, one, taking time to meditate and see what comes to you about these different ideas, different things that might be revealed to you, right? Sometimes these things are like decoder rings. You're like, whoa, I never thought about it that way. And then it opens up doors that you didn't have a key to previously. It unlocks them deeply for your exploration, or, to create depth where shallowness had previously been. And so what can you do with that? I don't know. I'm still digging at the surface of this, but what I do know is that if you start to understand forces, you get to use them better. Like what I try to teach when I'm using the fitness classes, especially yoga, but definitely for the weightlifting, is I teach people how to work with and against gravity. And so spiritually, I'm teaching people how to work with and against love to create growth there or wellness there. And then when I'm talking with people in their minds, I'm taking their attention and what they're focusing on and what they're framing to help them develop wellness there. All of these are working towards wellness and powerful lives, but these forces are there always. And what we're learning to do to have a successful life and a functional life is to work with and against them as appropriate for what we're trying to do. And so I leverage gravity when I'm squatting to help my legs become stronger for when I'm lifting things. In love, I leverage the love of my family so that I can learn how to love other people out in the world. Or if the world is really depleting and challenging and hard experience-wise, I have the love of my family or the love that I'm experiencing in my life as a way to help me weather the storm of the challenges of life, right? And if I'm not getting the things that I want in life, I learn how to leverage attention in a way that I can start to see more regularly, whether through the reticular activating system or just general manifestational awareness, the things that are going to take me closer to my goal, right? The law of attraction is really about attention, right? And even Earl Nightingale had said, we become what we think about all day long. And that's the truth. Whatever your attention is on is what you'll become, right? And if you put your attention on your wellness, that is what you will become. But it's not just your attention. It's your leveraging gravity with the physical body and your leveraging of the spiritual world with love that you then can work towards wellness through attention to all of these, right? We can't move through the world without our body, but we can't move our body in the world without our attention. And the whole system starts to break down when we lack spirit in the input at all, right? This is why faith traditions are very powerful, because they feed people the things they need to be fed at times to get through the challenging times. But we also know that, in loss, we feel deeply that sting so deeply, so fully. Grief is just insane. But you can only feel that much grief because of how much love filled that space and was previously there. So anyway, Yoga and Ayurveda are similarly, and Tantra is something that, I don't want you to think about the Neo-Tantra, that the sexual stuff and the sexual revolution, but it's really about elevating the body through practices that elevates the spirit. And you are able to use yoga, Ayurveda, and Tantra to help fuse these three key components of life. And each of those three key components of life is governed by three key forces, which I've identified as gravity, attention, and love. All right, my friends, take with it what you will, but most of all, use it to help you be well and be free.